Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I post a new video every Tuesday and Saturday. I'm currently a senior at UC Berkeley and I'm here to share my journey as an upcoming young adult fantasy writer and talk all things books. So, speaking of books, today I'm going to be doing a book review on Crave by Tracy Wolff. So without further ado, I'm Christine and this is Editorial Edge. If you haven't heard of Crave by Tracy Wolff, this book was released this year on April 7th and was marketed as a new modern rendition of the Twilight series. It was probably one of the most anticipated books that I saw within my circle, especially because it's a new vampire series entering the market. I'll admit I was excited, but I was also a little bit skeptical because I honestly hadn't heard of Tracy Wolff before this book came out, and the fact that it was marketed after such a big franchise and series, I was a little on the fence about, mainly because I don't really like Twilight as a book series personally. I really love the movies and I enjoyed the franchise and the fandom, but in terms of the books themselves, I really wasn't a big fan of them, to be honest. And I think that's the only time I'll ever say I like the movies more than the actual books, but that's just my opinion. Okay, so let's talk about Crave. Crave follows a high school girl named Grace who has unfortunately lost everything in her life up to this point. She was the only child from San Diego and her parents tragically died from a car crash, which has now led Grace to move to Alaska and attend a boarding school in the middle of snow and mountains. The reason for that is that her uncle is actually the headmaster of this boarding school, and her cousin Macy, who has also now turned into the only family she has left, also attends this boarding school. So as Grace's cousin Macy and her uncle attune her to this new life in Alaska, here enters Jackson Vega, who ultimately turns Grace's already upside down world sideways. Jackson's Grace's main love interest, and he's kind of described as an reserved and aloof character, especially because he has a lot of baggage that comes with him. Of course he does, like this is YA. But this also gets complicated because throughout the entire book, although that there's an attraction building between them, he's also hiding the fact that he is a vampire from Grace. That's kind of the crux of the book, and I honestly don't even want to say more because one, I'm genuinely gonna start gushing about it and I won't stop. So I obviously want y'all to go out and get this book immediately, like literally after you click off this video, go buy you this book because I absolutely loved this book. I easily give this book a 5 out of 5 stars, and that's that on that. I loved this book so much while I was reading it, and literally when I finished reading, I honestly had the urge to reread the whole thing over again. And that's honestly saying something because I don't think I've ever had that feeling in any other books. I for sure know I never had that feeling reading the Twilight series, but I thoroughly enjoyed and loved the world and the characters that Wolff created in this. It made me super invested and super excited and was definitely a page turner, and honestly that's all I can ask a book to do. Right after I read this book, I went onto Goodreads to see other people's reviews, and I honestly got so frustrated because so many people were giving it such a low review. And not even a low review, also leaving a whole bunch of negative comments about the book. And it literally isn't even my book, but I just got so defensive and frustrated. And that's kind of something I want to point out too if you all are interested in picking up this book. I just want to advise y'all, do not go into this book and do not read this book with the expectations and the grand comparisons of this book being just another Twilight book. Especially don't compare this book to the movie franchise of what you visually remember Twilight being. Because honestly, I promise you, if you do that, you won't enjoy this book. Honestly, I think that this book was just marketed as a Twilight-esque book just for the marketing purposes and to get people to anticipate this release. Because honestly, after reading this book, it is nothing like Twilight at all. Except for a few tropes of like the boy being a bad boy and the girl falling in love with him. But aside from that, there's not a lot of parallels that I can draw from Twilight in this book, honestly. I think Crave by Tracy Wolff is a much more mature and compelling story, especially compared to Twilight, the book itself. The characters are just much more developed and compelling, where I think that kind of draws me in as a reader, especially in terms of the world that Wolff kind of creates around me. Because Grace's character is not just somebody who has gone over to this boarding school and has fallen in love and that's that. She has a lot more experiences to her that develops her character over time. And I think the same could be said about Jackson as well. He's actually really nice and really romantic, and that's something I just didn't expect. But like I said, let me stop because I don't want to do any more spoilers and I genuinely want y'all to read it. But yeah, I would just say read this book with an open mind and don't come into this book with any expectations. And I think that should just be said for any books. I know with social media now, it's really hard to kind of not have any expectations and not have a general idea of what this book is already going to be about. But just enjoy the ride and enjoy the book for what it is. Because I genuinely feel like that's what made me so much more invested in this book, that I was just enjoying what I was reading. So overall, I highly recommend Crave by Tracy Wolff. I really hope that you pick it up or get it delivered to your house, because it really is just such a great read. And although it's dark and the characters are kind of battered, for me, I feel like those books make me feel lighter as a reader. I'm really interested to see and hear your initial thoughts on this book, because I'm sure y'all have seen this around. So leave it in the comment section below. Are you excited? Are you skeptical? Are you gonna pick it up? Or did you read it and end up hating it? Or did you read it and end up loving it? I really want to know, because I haven't seen a lot of reviews on this book. So leave it in the comment section. But that is all for today, y'all. I really hope y'all enjoyed this book review, and I really want to engage on this topic and talk to you all if you have read it. So don't forget to hit the like button, share, and comment while you're down there. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, and more. I'll leave all the links to reach me down in the description box. And until then, bye y'all.